Can we bring her down on, it?
I don't know, I haven't heard that. Really nice. Do you know this? I'm assuming she's coming.
You know, another one. Another
Yeah.
one. Yeah. So that. $200,000 for the control center. That's a paid like contingency. It's $7 million. They said they would do it. Then at the end of the construction thing, they hope to recruit. Here comes Kimberly. The recruit somebody at the end. So we're just being told that. So we can get, it's already been taken by capital. So we. Oh, we. It was going to be paid and capital. So it's gone out of there. It is.
All right, go for it.
The August 6th, 2024 meeting of the county commission order, all commissioners are present. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone has received the minutes from the last meeting and the special meeting, but I have a motion to approve any of those, so.
Second.
Commissioner Ross is first, Commissioner P second. All in favor of the motion to approve the minutes? There's just two sets.
Yes.
All right. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously. The next item is the approval of the order of agenda. Is there anything that the commissioner would like to add to the agenda? Hearing none, I'm going to have a motion. Commissioner Hagan. Second. Interrupted second. The all in favor of the approval of the order of the agenda, signify by saying aye. So by saying aye. Opposed? That's passed unanimously. Then approval of the consent agenda itself includes bills, employee status changes, overtime, one game of chance permit, and the June financial report. Would any commissioner like any of those pulled to discuss? Hearing none, I would have a motion to approve the consent agenda. So moved. Second, Commissioner Rust, Mr. Rusted. Rusted, rather. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously. All right, item number 6. I see Mr. Bob Wilkerson on a planning and zoning issue. Is Mr. Wilkerson here? Mr. Magnuson, are you speaking that?
I was not, I was just here to answer questions. Yeah, I know I only talked to him on the phone, so I haven't.
So Mr. Russ, did you happen to talk to this?
Yeah. Maybe I accidentally put them on the wrong meeting. Possible. I'll back up with them. Basically what's going on is there was a zoning change for height restrictions on his property that he didn't, was not aware of back in, I think, I wanna say he said 2006, but at any rate, it was quite some time ago. And, now due to, I guess the health concerns with his wife, they're unable to keep the property up, or just sell it. And the banks won't, touch it or the 10-foot pole because of the height restrictions. That's basically the synopsis. I have without even here to talk about, I don't know what else I could add.
When I spoke with him on the phone, he had mentioned he would be at the next meeting, August 21st, is the meeting. So he just put on the wrong.
Now, that was my mistake that.
We
just for that.
We'll just table it until that meeting if it shows up and come back up to the agenda for that time. What's the matter?
If I can just give you a quick background, just so and you guys get an idea what's going on. Yeah, in 2006, the commission asked me to rewrite zoning ordinance. We included input from the air base and so forth. They provided us with a study, which included accident protection zones, direct extensions of the runway, basically. There are 3 tiers, tier 1 being the most concerned, closest to the end of the runway. Mr. Orch's property is within that. We did restrict residential uses, no new residential uses. Anything that was there would have been considered a legal non-conforming use. So I believe when he came to wanted to start to sell his property, 2023. Our definition for legal non-conforming structure was you could repair it up to 50%. So the lending agencies were having a problem with if something happened to the house, tornado, fire, or whatever, they wouldn't be able to replace it and they would just kind of be out. Since then, we changed our definition to 100% of market value, so if something happened to the house, we would be able to replace it. If he wants to go above and beyond what he's got there, he could certainly either do a couple things that I gave him options for. One would be a rezoning. 2 would be a variance. In both cases, I told him I would have no reason to not recommend approval of it. If their base was okay with it and state's attorney's office was okay with it. I have not seen a formal request for either rezoning or variance at this time. But as far as the way it sits currently, we did fix the definition for this house so that that shouldn't be an issue anymore, and reasonable use of property is currently being allowed.
You mean if it was destroyed?
Yeah, if it was destroyed, he can repair, I mean, anything. You know, even if he wanted to, any repairs, improvements or anything like that, he would still be able to do up to 100% of.
But does the zoning prevent him from selling it for someone else to live in? They grandfathered in, but can't sell to someone else? What?
No, it does not, absolutely does not affect the sale of property whatsoever. You can sell it, use as a legal non-conforming use, it runs with the property. So it doesn't matter who owns it, they can replace it.
So you don't- So apparently you're not sure what issue he's actually raising.
I don't know what the exact zoning issue is. I know I have talked to appraisers and realtors since we did the ordinance amendment with the definition, so I know they're aware of it. But I didn't have any contact information for them or any regular, so I don't know if he knows that.
Well, that's helpful. We'll table it and.
Yeah.
I agree with it. The next meeting. Thank you. Yep. Public health.
Good afternoon, Chair Engen and members of the commission. I'm here before you seeking Chair's signature on the social detox amendment for the 2024 social detox facility funding agreement. This is the legal agreement that was drawn up after I was before you with Katie Jo Armbrust with the Housing Authority to move the social detox facility to a low barrier shelter. You'll see in the amendment, it's noted that in the county's portion, that the county has paid their full sum for 2024. So if there's no questions, I can stand for questions.
Any questions? Mr. Ford, are you familiar with this issue?
I'm very familiar, sir. No, it's this,
Give a quick summary.
to Ms. Wall's point, this was, this reflects the Grand Forks Public Health Department no longer administratively running or controlling the social detox center. And this was, if you remember a few months ago, Katie Jo Ambrist from Housing and Urban Development, or the Housing Authority here in town, came before you.
Yes.
And so the housing authority is now taking ownership of this, so you're signing on to this to agree to the change in administration.
All right. Any questions by commissioner?
Covered like a blanket last time, so.
Pardon me?
I think we pretty much covered the blanket.
So we have a motion to approve this amendment. Mr. Hagan,
Yeah. Oh,
Mr. Russell, second.
perfect.
All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Ms. Nelson, you're up.
Okay, on the screen, Mr. Chairman, member of the commission, I have the levy calculation that you have seen in the past. Mine is 200,000 for an additional capital improvements that is not going to be needed out of the correctional center. Did you want to understand that, or the need for the 200,000 at all?
I was gonna take care of that later, essentially.
Started the budget though.
Yeah, for the 200,000, that was for the control monitoring station. I've talked with construction engineers, we have a different solution. So as far as including it in the capital improvements, you won't need that 200,000.
So we've taken it out, and so the last time we met, there was a slight increase in the mill vote. Estimated 0.05 mils, now we're down 0.61 mils. So I have scanned in not only this levy worksheet, but also the budget booklet, which shows the estimated interim fund, cash balance, revenue, and the required levy with a little more detail than the levy calculation worksheet. The levy calculation worksheet has 2 circles on it. We'll talk about that a bit. The preliminary budget includes steps for all qualified employees on their seniority date and a 2% COLA for all employees and elected officials. It also has 10 additional correctional center officers, increasing the half-time correctional center officers from half-time to full-time, reclassifying a correctional center officer to a corporal, and a custodial position for 6 months beginning July 1, 2025. It also includes 1 sheriff's deputy and an IT position. The capital improvement budget has been increased from 1 million to 2.6 million, using $1.6 million in cash. I'm gonna pass out the ARPA funds. So we received $13.49 million in ARPA funds over 2 years, in 2021 and 2022. You can see how we spent money. By law, we could only use 10 million for revenue replacement for any general fund need. So we had to spend approximately $3.5 million by categories that are listed here, and we've done that. So we've allocated money, and you can see in that column, the highlighted amount for the CDC 2025 budget request. If we use it out of ARPA funds, I'll need a motion to do that, otherwise we'll have to put it in our budget and levy for it, and so it's not in there currently. And then you can see at the bottom, there's a balance of about $140,000, and we have to allocate that by the end of this year.
Separate from the CBIC amount. That CBIC is included before that. Budget.
It's not included, it is not included in right now. If we wanted to include that, we're gonna need another mill increase.
No, but what I'm saying is, if ARPA has also paid for, if we set aside ARPA funds for the CBIC for 2025.
No,
Okay. And
so
what,
that I have it as allocated, but I highlighted because you haven't allocated it yet. If you choose to do it, that's the way it will look. If not, then I'll take it off.
but we don't, can't cover all of that amount with 140,000.
No, that's included.
All right.
That's already
included.
included in
That
there.
was my question.
Yeah, it's already included. So after that, if you do allocate that, you have 140 left.
Okay.
So do you wish to do that now? Just decide on that, if you want to put it in our budget. Or use ARPA funds, I'll need a motion to use ARPA funds.
And with that change, all of that's factored in so far in the bill decrease that you have on the sheet,
Right,
so.
that we're not, it's not,
Not affect that.
it would not.
Discussion on CBIC being taken care of with ARPA funds.
I mean,
Commissioner Peach.
I just want to bring up something that's relevant to the budget. When we did the budget planning for 2024 in 2023, I had asked for a full-time position in HR and a full-time position in IT. At the time, the chair and other members, obviously, you two weren't here at that time. I was told by the chair that they guaranteed that that would be a priority in 2024. It never happened it never happened in it hasn't happened so far in 2024. And we're now talking about a budget for 2025. We have funded an IT position. We have not funded an HR position. And I'm just bringing that up because that was a discussion piece that was when we were working on the 2024 budget in the middle of 2023 that we never got to.
Mr. Chairman, member of the commission, can I finish going through the rest of the?
Sorry.
And we can go back, we will for surely go back to that.
Well, we have to come back to the motion on CBIC that we.
Yeah.
Do that. All right.
Another request that I received from Commissioner Rost was to calculate the cost of giving a 5% COLA to the state's attorney and to the sheriff, and forego the 2% for the commission. And it would cost approximately $11,000, and it would affect it by 0.02 mils. So here's the updated one with that, if you're
All right.
interested, it's as large. For slashing price. And remember, once you approve the preliminary budget, you cannot increase.
And is that a total number, or is that each individual item can't be changed?
Nope,
Which,
total number.
okay.
So your total budget can not change. You can move things around, but you cannot change the total budget.
Yep, all right. I don't have any in mind, but wondering how it works.
So on page 37 that I've scanned in is the budget to actual report. I'm going to give you a copy of that.
I think it's in In here, you know,
It is in there too. And so you already have a copy and it's scanned in, so everyone else can see it. And I have another sheet out with the same.
working on it, that's it, no.
One more sheet. Okay, so. Now we'll go back to those items that were circled. So on the budget to actual report, I have 17,941,18. In the upper right-hand corner, and that's the same as that, the June financial report that I have up on the screen. So if you look at the other sheet that I gave you, it shows you where that comes from. So we have the general fund, county reserve, this is all general fund dollars, but they're separated in different funds, we hold them separately. But it is general fund dollars, general fund, county reserve, parking ramp maintenance, the Grand Forks County Risk, Safety and Training, Grand Forks Narcotics Task Force, the Victims Reparation Program, the Asset Forfeiture, the Grand Forks County Social Service Client Opportunity. That was actually money that was donated by someone that had received social services when he was a child.
Well,
And then when he retired and moved out of state, he donated $100,000. And they can use that money for different things. And so it's been there for, I don't know, almost 10 years probably. The county recorder tech fund, they get $1 for every document that gets recorded, goes in this tech. The hazard chemical preparation response and the contract policing. That is the sheriff's department deputies are contracted out for policing different events and the money comes back. So all these funds, other than the first one, the general fund, we don't levy for. It's just an in and out and we hold the money. So that's where the $17.9 million comes from that you see on the projected cash balance on my sheet. Now, some of the items, all those that are highlighted in yellow, we can't use, we have to hold. So it's not funds that we can offset our budget with. So then we're at 17.4 million. And I think we're going to need an additional $700,000 yet this year. Because our revenue will not meet our budgeted revenues. Our expenditures will probably be less than what is budgeted. So I have an estimated cash at $16.7 million for 2024. That's 59% of our budgeted expenses, which is very healthy. The law only allows us to have 75%, so you can't have more than that. Then if you look at my levy calculation sheet, that 13,930 I got circled on that sheet, so you can see that's where that number comes from. So that's my more conservative estimate. The difference between 16.7 and 13.9 is 2.8. If you add the interim fund and the 5% allowance, 90% of people will pay their taxes with the discount. So that's a loss of revenue for the county. So we are allowed to put 5% back in. So the end of 2025, we'll have $11.1 million or 35% budgeted expenses, still a healthy amount. That means the difference between 16.7 and 11.1 is $5,577,000. That's how much cash we're going to be using to hold our levy down. If we did not have cash, our mill levy would be 58.17 mils, which is very close to the 60 mil maximum. We will probably only be able to hold the levy down for one more year after 2025. And our 2026 budget will increase for a full year of wages for the correctional center positions by $428,000 or 1.09 mils. And there will be a vote to eliminate property taxes in November 2024. If it passes, we will be held at the number of mills that we are levying in 2024. Which does not cover our costs,
24, 25,
or,
or 25.
24 levy is what we're using right now, and that's what we'd be held to.
So it doesn't make any difference what we do with the budget right now, then it's that's locked in already.
No. No, it's the 2024 levy is for the
Yeah,
2025
okay.
budget.
That's what you're,
I'm sorry.
that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So if we were to raise the mill levy to protect ourselves for next year, then that would incentivize people to vote for the, Tax reduction bill.
I would think so.
that's kind of a,
No winner.
Yeah.
no win situation. So,
So,
where I, you covered what you wanna cover,
yeah, and,
wanna, make some, have some discussion. and
yeah,
make
let's
decisions?
have discussion about what you like to do, and just so you're aware of the funds we're using, and we're holding our levy down. And I have that spreadsheet too, if you want to look at. Different options.
Okay. Thoughts? What issue does someone want to bring up first?
So presently, the COLA that we're providing to the rest of the employees is at 5%,
No,
it's 2%. Okay,
And a step.
and a step.
well, yeah, if they're eligible for a step.
Yeah.
So it's a step and a 2% COLA for everybody.
Okay,
And I had brought up about the state's attorney and the sheriff. Getting the 5% also, because they're gonna be dealing with compression with their first deputies in both departments. Because they'll get, the employees would get 5 and they would only get 2. So.
I think that's kind of an easy one, it makes a very tiny change, especially since we're not. I agree with the idea that we don't need a raise on the commission itself.
No.
I don't think we should do that in tight times like this. So.
Yesterday, the city dropped airport authority mills 4 to 2. Might be something worth considering. I think that the thought process there, if I got to put Mills version right back and watch back the meeting, was the airport is setting up the fresh 50 money. So it's the flight program. And the airport just, I mean, if we just lost out to Williston in passengers, you know, and so it's the focus of the airport. Apparently, the eyes of some has become more so the flight school than the citizenry. And so to fund it at this level, I think there's an opportunity there to match what they just did. And that, no, that's a special levy, so that's gonna go right back to the taxpayer. I appreciate that. But we can make it an even 2.25 if we did the historical society along with it.
It's not very long down.
You say cutting the airport authority completely or cutting it in half?
Well, if we mirror what the city did and use the same thought process, it would be going.
I think they dropped it by 50% of their, what they usually provide to the airport authority.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's. It's coming up for the very first time right now today, are we prepared to make that kind of a decision? Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, member of the commission, there is a requirement in law, I think if you have a airport authority board that you have to levy 4 mills.
I think the city
So-
dropped it from 4 to 2.
I know they did, but the townships can do their own airport authority.
Yes,
But if it's less than 4, they have to pay the difference to the Grand Forks, and it has to be a total of 4.
Like, I'm just telling the truth.
Maybe
All I know is that's the way it is with the townships, if they decide to not participate in Grand Forks Airport, they have to pay their local.
Northern is that. And
So I don't know that we can take action on that, but that's not to say you can't later. Before the
Yeah.
final budget is approved, because if you did it now, you couldn't add it.
we have to know what we're doing,
It's
so.
just something that hadn't occurred to me until I saw it today.
So I heard it on, they had done that, and because of the large reserves that are sitting there at the airport. Sorry. But if we leave it in for now, we could take it out for the final budget, but we can't.
Yeah.
I
Add
wanna
it
make a
back in.
mistake and do something illegal today. I suppose. All right, that's a good point to think about.
So instead of using, sorry,
Go ahead.
instead of using the ARPA dollars to fund the CDIC's budget, what other place could we use that money for? With that, like, what are we not doing if we use the ARPA money? Do you have any ideas?
So I think we're required to pay that money because we're required to provide those services, so it would have to come out of our budget and then. We'd have to levy.
Mr. Chair, I could
Go ahead.
provide a quick update too on the lease with CVIC. On the in-kind portion that could help offset a little bit of this 387. We have offices identified. It is about 15, oh, I'm sorry, it's about 1,100 square feet, 5 offices. So that would equate to $19,968 of value that, talking with CVIC business manager, that essentially can come off the total. So whatever that is from 387,000, but that is we're just finalizing everything. They've spoken with Evelyn about some of their IT needs, but that will be able to alleviate a little bit of that total for CVIC. And I think talking with Ms. Lomstead, we can just reflect that in the services agreement when we eventually get that.
So is that an annual? Is that number an annual?
It's gonna have to
that
be.
base?
That portion, because we're also working on a separate cash value lease with them as well. That will have to be, the in-kind will have to be annual because the bulk is gonna change every year.
So soon, we do need, as long as we're discussing CVIC, we need a motion to decide how to handle that. If.
Yeah, and maybe not the dollar amount.
Yeah, because that's. So if you're so inclined, the motion would be to use ARPA funds to pay the, whatever the number is that would provide for CVIC's fees for the year. And when the lease is finalized, that other cap would just stay in along with the other 140,000. Of our plan, so
Have to allocate by the end of the year,
Yes.
but yes, it would stay there.
all right. Thoughts?
Well, I still wanna bring up the full-time
Well,
position.
we're gonna take it one issue.
I know,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, I don't know if ARPA can fund a staff person or not.
I don't think so.
I think it probably could, but it's for 1 year.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
Oh, yeah, we have to be able to provide each year.
And you can decide later, if you don't want to decide today and you want to think about it.
We have to have another meeting before the,
Well, I guess
you have.
you have to decide if
approve
you
the
want
preliminary
to put
budget.
that money in our budget. And we levy for it today.
I don't like that idea.
No,
Nobody else?
I don't either. No.
I think it'd be okay just to use the ARPA funds, we need to think about it anymore, so I make a motion to use the ARPA dollars, but the dollar amount here that's lowered with the lease payment.
Second.
Right, we have a motion in a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously. So then just the, we have to deal with the 2% COLA step, 5% sheriff, the amendment, the change in what we've done from originally where it was just steps and a 2% COLA for everybody. We're taking the commission out of that. We're raising the sheriff and the state's attorney to a little more, slightly more along the lines of where they should be, so.
Well, I would make that motion.
Here a second? Mr. Hagan was first with the second, so any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passed. Now we've got. We're talking about an HR position and we have motions necessary on. Any other position like the IT position?
They're all included in the budget right now, this, one that I gave you that had that 0.59 deduct. Your motion would be $34,979,335. So that's the net levy dollar amount, that's what your motion's going to be. So if you choose to add another position, you're choosing to change that number. So that number plus whatever.
So what positions are included already?
So what's in there already is the 10 correctional center officers, the
6 months?
for 6 months, the halftime converted to a full-time position. At the correctional center, reclassification for an officer to a corporal. A custodian. A sheriff's deputy. And an IT position. That's it.
With respect to the correctional center, wasn't there some discussion? Of not adding all of those positions?
Yeah, I think we had talked about. Maybe a 6 month
Well, that,
deal, but the thing we have to remember is. I think right now, according to Mr. Burkholder at jail, I think he's got 11 federals in there right now. And so we've got money being reimbursed, he could probably get more when that other section opens up, so. Just to keep in mind that we could, I mean, we'd be losing revenue the longer we stretch this thing out, but I think we had talked about July 1.
Yeah.
That's what's in there,
Talked about-
July 1.
but,
It is July 1, 6 months only.
yeah,
Next year.
For 10 of them.
so, but how about the extra custodial and other things?
The custodian is 6 months as well, the
The
sheriff
6
is,
months,
and
any
IT.
objections to those positions by anybody? No, okay. So what? This is the only position that's not in the budget at 0.59 mil or less, the HR position?
The sheriff requested 2, so one of his and the HR position.
So by adding that HR, so the way it stands right now, our mill levy would be. 0.61, is that right?
No,
What would it be without the HR?
approximately a negative 0.59 compared
Okay.
to what it was.
Okay. If we add HR, it's gonna be over, right?
Well, it's 0.31, so.
But I just wonder, I thought we had a discussion with Mr. Burkholder that he couldn't bring on 10 correctional officers at the same time. That he'd wanna spread it out. So instead of looking at 10 coming in as of July. And if that's when the start date is going to be, would it make more sense to have 5 coming in? Starting at July and 5 coming in, the fourth quarter?
I don't think that.
No, he-
They have to have two,
he needs-
anytime somebody goes to an
Yeah,
pot, so.
he needs the 10 when
I
we,
think you're,
Yeah.
goodness in there, or since 80 in there.
I think I had asked that question too, but I think when the, it's about like the classes that they have, like it's better to have a.
takes a month.
Yeah.
It's a good month.
And they may not all. be
And-
hired for
And they have the
30 days.
FPO with current correctional officers, so it's hard to get 10 of them done at one time, so he's got to kind of stagger them, but.
Yeah.
I think we were shooting for like July 1. Yeah. Is it? Madam Auditor, wasn't that what we had talked about? Yeah. And that's figured into the budget?
Yeah.
Talk about the correctional officer.
So Chair Ingham and Commissioners, I wanted to give you just a little piece of information when we're planning for correctional officers. Hiring 10 at once is probably not gonna happen because of recruitment pieces, so just so you know, in 2024. For correctional officers, we hired 1 in January. 3 in February, 2 in March, 1 in April. 4 in May, 4 in June. So 4 at one time is like a large class for them. So I just want you to know that that's kind of the trend, because if you're thinking we're gonna be able to get you 10 people July 1st. I can't imagine that that's gonna happen. So just a little bit of historical information. About that.
But as far as opening the new space. Would they be able to staff it? If all of those 10 are hired right away, or would they be
I don't believe
struggling?
Mr. Burkholder's on, so.
Rather, you're hearing this discussion?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
What happens if you can't find people to be hired quickly enough once the pot is open?
In order to safely open that pod, we do need the 10. We can't do it with, I might be able to start it with 8 if I have 8 fully trained. I would try to start it with 8, but I would do need 10 without question, with all the movement and so forth that those additional bodies are going to take.
Yeah, that isn't my question. I think you explained before that you will have to have 10 to actually run that full board. But what if they can't find enough people to hire, and how long does it take to train them and that kind of thing?
Commissioner and Commissioners, as Ms. Thiel mentioned, it takes a while to hire them. In the pools that we get, the 4 that she mentioned in May and June, that's not typical. It's usually a much smaller. When I looked at what type of time frame it might take to get 10 new officers on, I'm not looking at a crystal ball, but I expect it might take as long as 6 months to get 10 officers. Because not only do we have to get them, we have to then go through their orientation and their training and so forth, such that they are able to run a housing unit as a new officer, and that doesn't happen overnight. So it would probably take 6 months to bring everyone up to speed, the bodies and the training.
So does that affect this budget decision today?
Well, yeah. The other thing, and whether this is true or not, I heard that, Burley County has a brand new correctional facility there. And they can't open one pod because they can't get enough help. So, I heard that not too long ago, so. It's hard to find people to work. so. But I still think we need to talk about the 10 July and just go from there, see how it progresses, so. We can't open sections maybe until everybody's trained in, but I mean,
Okay, but
we gotta start somewhere.
we should plan for July.
Yeah. I don't wanna have our hands tied, like. You know.
Yeah.
By a blessing, we get them, then we can't pay them because we didn't budget for it, so.
Yeah.
Better to have it.
Okay, but there are two positions that are requested that are not in the budget. The one that's what, the second sheriff deputy and HR. There's discussion concerning those.
And then quite, I see quite a few, I've just called them out, they have full of people reach out. Wondering why we even discuss an HR position when they're not working, all of them in the office, and it's a problem among some of the staff. They feel like it's unfair. Whether that's the case or not, I don't know, I'm not here every day, I'm just reporting what I've been heard, we're told. So I'm not as supportive of an additional HR staff for that reason, because I would want to see, you know, the productivity of HR with everyone on in building, you know, around the clock. And I'm not sure what you guys' thoughts are, it sounds like you agree, but you know, that's just my opinion, and assuming I'm getting the correct information from those that reached out to me, which is that's an assumption, and the somewhat.
Is the only one to address this?
Well, there's two pieces. One, understanding that also this HR position would have 25% of it paid for by the zone. Coming to next year, if we didn't do it this year, I can't guarantee that that would happen for the following budget. The other concern, the person who works remotely is exempt and puts in way more than 40 hours in a week and is available and has been out of the jail at 11 o'clock at night. Various places at the highway department at 7 in the morning, answering phone calls on the weekend, working while traveling on vacation. So I can rest assured, and if anyone wants to look at anything, you can see, I can show you the type of work and the emails and everything that happens. Granted, there's already been discussion in my department about having this position coming back into the office full-time once we're in the 5th floor. Because there's also a change to the state of Minnesota with remote working. So I can say in confidence that there is no lack of productivity or lack of accessibility by one person in my department having worked remotely.
We do have quite a few people also in the human service zone that work remotely. They work from home.
And someone in finance and tax that works remotely, and in tax equalization. They also have a rotating schedule where they work remotely for a week at a time. So it's not just someone in my.
Any other comments, Mr. Ross?
No, I don't know.
Is there a motion with respect to either the positions that are not in the budget? That'd be HR and the sheriff's deputy. Mr. Page,
I would move that we add the HR position into the budget full-time.
is there a second? Hearing none, motion fails. Is there anything else the board would like to address as far as the changes to where we sit right now? Nelson, what else should we be addressing?
So, if you are, ready, you can make a motion to approve the preliminary budget. Amount of $34,979,331.
34,979,31.
330.
331.
Yeah.
And that would be at a negative 0.61 mils.
Negative 0.59 approximate.
True in the color.
I make that motion.
Mr. Ross made a motion, any second?
With respect to the Historical Society. Can I at least get a gentleman's agreement that we can discuss this before we finalize?
It's a budget, but we can always go down for the final budget.
And with that information, I'll second reluctantly.
Further discussion? We could do the same with positions.
So, as it sits right now,
But
this would be the most big step.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
we could cut things out, be more rushing out, so let's swap things around.
Right, so it's not, yes.
Correct. Yeah, I second.
all right, it's been moved and seconded to pass the preliminary budget at $4,979,331. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed? Passed unanimously.
Thank you.
A lot smaller than the city budget. I'll just do some of that this morning. All right. I can't find my initial speech. What's the next on the agenda? There we go. It's buried under here, that. Mr. West. He knew he was up next.
Ready.
Well, my topic, I don't think it's gonna be as stressful as the previous one, I believe. Just a couple of tidbits for the board. So yesterday and in the evening, I get a nasty phone call from our bridge inspector and he's like, yeah, you gotta close off Bridge 12701, so at Levant 49. We had to go barricade that off last night, emergency issues with it, so we did that. Good news is, went and looked at it today, and it's been having problems for a while, it's got a ton limit, it's on our bad list. We have, John and I have identified a reasonable fix we can get done next couple of weeks, so that hopefully again, usable. And the best news is this one's already programmed, one of the many projects we have with the DOT already for replacement in 2026. So that's already in the pipe, and they've been working on engineering and permitting and all that already, so. A little hiccup in the game plan there, but, and it's not an extremely busy road, so well, it's not a busy road at all, it's only a dirt trail, but it's still necessary for certain fields to get access to. The other item I just wanna share is I got a call from Chief Schomburg today about stop sign at County 5 and 32nd Avenue. He calls and, yeah, next stop sign's gone. Oh, okay, I'll call the sign guy and they go over and fix this thing. Well, Calls back a little bit later, yeah, the stop sign laying in the ditch is. Somebody pulled it out and. We've had a problem and I can't. Say in this particular case, but we've had a lot of problems this year with the windmill blade situation. Getting more and more problematic. I've had various discussions with a couple commissioners and landowners and townships and. HP and sheriff and DOT and just windmill blades are moving them around is becoming more of an issue and it's becoming stressful and. They've been known to take. Signs down at intersections, particularly stop signs, because they're right in the intersection and. They take them down, go to the intersection, put them back up, usually once in a while they forget to put them up. And when you do that in an intersection like 5 and 32nd, that's a big problem.
Yeah.
So I don't know where this is all going, but there's been. Staff.
Are they taking blades out on 32nd Avenue?
Oh, yeah. Yep, the other common route right now is they take 69th, which turns into 13th Street, go from the storage yard north down.
Yeah,
They go straight down 69th. All the way down to State 15, and then they turn west on State 15, west of Thompson, and that sign I've gotten reports as stop sign's been taken down. State highway, so I reported to them, but same issue, right?
have you talked to them at all about this?
Well, the biggest problem is you never really know which carrier it is. There's just multiple carriers and multiple trucks, we got annual permits. These guys, not each load is permitted individually, but it's getting pretty frustrating, it's becoming a.
I
Major
would still
safety
think
issue.
no matter what the carrier, they've got the liability. You know,
Well,
so.
hopefully,
So
What
dangerous.
power would you need?
Yeah, power.
so I reached, well, I left a message for Ellen Windfiber. Or try to get hold of somebody there today, spread the word that. I don't know if it's in my authority, but I'm very frustrated. All ready to pull. Permits.
Yeah.
You guys gonna do this, but the problem is you can't, which one, which company, which
can't.
guy,
But they
You don't know.
they can jack up their carriers to, hey, do this thing right, or you're not gonna be doing it,
right?
so.
So I just hope we don't ever have a serious problem with that, but.
Well, the serious problem would be an accident and somebody.
We've already had a fatality there, but the
Right.
sign's there, so.
Correct. Yeah, but just so you're aware that that's a big concern of ours. Back to the agenda, County Road 5 hydraulic report, so back. After the spring of 22 for the veteran commissioners at the June. June 7th, 2022. Meeting, there were a bunch of people in the room here. Talking about the flooding on County 5 just south of Manville, where our current new bridge is being built in that segment of road. Getting frustrated with the road always flooding on it, so I went to the water board. And initiated a hydraulic study in conjunction with the water board to see what would it take to keep the road high and dry during flood. And my initial thought was, well, what if we just dig big ditches alongside the road, take that dirt, build up the road, so the water would be forced to go through the bridges. Or go through the diversion ditches, I call them. And that was analyzed and we had a very veteran hydraulic engineer with Seth do the analysis for us. He's like, you can't really do that because you're gonna short circuit the river and then. You're gonna flood Manville even worse, so you really can't do that, but he came back with in the report. Recommendations to raise the road still, but you need bigger bridges, right? To get whatever water would go over the road now has to go in bridges. Which is obviously very expensive and we can't afford all that, right now, but. What it does for us is in the future. As bridges do get replaced, we can use this data to make sure we're following these minimum requirements. But also, I believe the northern 2 miles of that segment, so it'd be County 5, just the 2 miles right south of County 33, which is the highway going through Manville and Gilby. There's some smaller things we could do. 3 small grade raises and 2 smaller box culverts that we could implement on this plan. That could get those 2 miles open. Which is a big deal, 'cause that gets us all the way down the Golf Course Road, we call it. Is what the locals might describe it as, so that helps, right? It just gets more people access to it. And I'm not asking for any decisions like today or money, but if we do get prairie dog money this winter, we might come back to the board and say, hey, let's take some of that cash.
Yeah.
Do some grade, 3 grade raises and 2 box culverts. And we could slowly implement this plan, and that's some low hanging fruit, that's not millions of dollars to, implement, so. I just got this report a few months ago, I got the report, and I just haven't made it a priority to get it back to the board, and we weren't gonna do anything about it, anyways, but. I just want this, there's a copy of the report in your packet, and if you have any other questions, here to enter. So. The next item is every other year, the county needs to certify township mileage. And that would be the report in front of you. Nothing's changed from the last, from 2022. 2022 in there, should be 2024. Anyway, either way, nothing's changed. I do, okay.
24.
Okay, good. And just for the board's awareness, it was about 4 years ago, we did a countywide update to the system. Because roads have changed in priorities over the years for minimum maintenance but in the minimum maintenance, vice versa out, and got that updated, so. I guess with that, I would ask for approval of the certification of mileage and Chair's signature on the form.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Ross, you made the motion, I believe, Commissioner Hagan had it first for the second. And before we, just got a couple of questions. Of the 1,585 miles. On page 2 there. What number would be paved road?
Oh, boy.
Wait.
A mile.
Yeah.
The only township that has paved miles is Grand Forks, so on 62nd Avenue. East of Belmont. Or east of the city's levy system. Is paid for, I don't think it's a mile. That
Are County 5 and County 6 included?
oh, no, this is just township.
Well, these are all township roads.
This is just townships.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Do you include minimum maintenance roads in these lists?
We do.
Okay.
Yep, so your regular maintained roads and minimum maintenance are added in here. The only ones that aren't are the, I call them goat trails, but. Well, the dirt trails, I call them goat trails, but actually. Dirt trails are the non-existent roads.
So, did they bring up any questions by the board? No further discussion, we have a motion in a second to approve the report. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
I.
Opposed? Passed unanimously.
Thank you. My last item for the board is. We finally have a purchase agreement on Northwood Shed. Yay, so. I was working with Extreme Longstead, numerous back and forth on this. We had sent them our purchase agreement, I don't know, a couple months ago or better. They didn't like it, so they sent us back their own complete version that's 3 times as thick and same meaning. In the end, we did have some comments in there about, well, one spot, I think they had us in North Carolina and Grand Forks County is political subdivision. They had some different terminologies. We had some identification, I'd say that word, issues and confidentiality things that we can't agree to. But both Ms. Longstead and I have reviewed this and feel it's good to go, and it's $4,000 for that parcel of land, which we agreed upon a few months ago, so.
What part of it, is this less than an acre?
Yeah, I think it's already, I think it's
And
Would it take
big house, they get
1.4 acres?
Yeah.
Correct?
quarter acre,
Okay.
so we can get going on our head now if we're
Any
okay.
questions from Mr. West? Do I have a motion? Commissioner Peach, second by Commissioner Hager, to approve the sales contract with the city of Northwood, or with the bean plant rather in Northwood. For $4,000. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed? Passed unanimously.
Thank you. That is all I have.
All right, thank you.
so Mr. West, I'll be bringing up that gravel on the committee report.
Gotcha. I'll stay, make sure to stick around.
Okay.
Um. Debbie, do you have a hard copy of that? First name? Okay. I might stick around and get a signature on that, if that's okay. I'm in a hurry on that item, so, thank you.
All right, county administrator.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. On behalf of the state's attorney and the sheriff, first item is the request for proposal. The build lease option for the sheriff's office. You had, the board has directed us to go back and present a more detailed specific RFP. So Sheriff Schneider's really did the bulk heavy lifting of this, but it will accommodate the existing and future needs of the sheriff's office. Wrote this based off of the Icon master plan that was done in April 2020 when we were looking at the lot across the street. The board had also agreed to a term no less than 10 years, so that's in the RFP. I will say I had a conversation with City Administrator Phelan this morning about the lot next to the courthouse. And if that offer to the county was still on the table, keeping in mind it would have to go to council for approval. In that discussion, if that lot is determined as a site to build on, the city, that offer would still be on the table for the county, so that could see some cost savings there. Really, the RFP just needs a few more fine tuning, such as the legal final verbiage, like bidding instructions, dates, when it's due, things like that. But other than that, I think Ms. Wamstead and Sheriff Schneider and I are feeling pretty comfortable with what we have. Looking for any kind of feedback from the board. If not, this might be an aggressive goal, that I'd like to get it to the Herald still this week to get published, if not early next week. So I think we're asking for any feedback, consensus from the board at this point, if your thoughts on the RFP.
Comments, questions?
Okay, so you're looking at the land. You're not, so what would a potential building cost to put on it?
No, no, Ms. Peach, Commissioner Peach, so what we're asking for are proposals from a developer.
Mhm.
That can be everything from identifying where to, so the land and the building, if a developer identifies that lot, there's no cost to the lot, but there's still a cost to the construction, obviously, of that building. There could be a site, if actually we go back to the responses to the RFQ a few months ago, there were a couple of sites identified on south of 32nd. So that obviously, if the commission went down that road, would entail the price of acquiring that and the building. So it all determines. So we're looking for a much more detailed proposal from contractor developer, essentially to present an affordable option of where site, I'm sure site will come down to some measure of decision making along with cost, but what is the best cost? What's the best affordability for the county to entertain a lease with options? And options is the key word.
Thank you.
Would the option be exercisable prior to the end of 10 years if it was advantageous to the county to do that?
I would refer to however the state's attorney would like to approach that.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I don't think our committee has gotten into those fine details. We have been pretty clear in how the proposal was drafted to make it clear that it's not a purchase agreement, but rather that it's the option. So if the board wished to explore something like that, we certainly could add that in.
Well, I like the idea of the option, but if you wanted to, could you exercise it in year 8? Or would you have to do an exercise at the end of the 10-year lease? Or extend the lease? I mean, all these things are available, I assume.
So Mr. Chair, Commissioners, to jump back in. I think once you get proposals and the board finds a proposal and approves it, you're gonna enter into lease negotiations regardless. I think too, that's when, you know, we get into the real nitty gritty on those types of questions. But not speaking for Ms. Wamstead, if the board wants that in the RFP, we'll put it in.
Chairing and members of the commission, I completely agree with Mr. Ford. We've been working on this diligently. We've had conversations with some contractors. And a few of them said, well, what if we had a 8-year option to buy or a 5-year? And what we've deferred them to is right now, the RFP we're working on is for a 10-year lease with the option to buy. If they propose an 8-year buyout, then that would be a lease to buy, and we can't do that. So if what we've told a couple of them is, well, if you propose a buyout for 10 year, after 10 years. That's the option after 10 years, that's fine. If you want to propose an option to buy out after 5 years, feel free, that's just not gonna be in the RFP. So,
That wouldn't be too advantageous to a developer, I wouldn't think, so.
Yeah.
10 years is probably a good time. Other questions? Comments? We need a motion to approve moving forward with the RFP. This goes.
I think, go ahead.
I can't recall, I believe there's previously been a motion to move forward with this. So I think this
there was.
is more so for input that, I guess I can't recall, sure.
Well, there was a motion to have you guys go forward, and so I suppose that should be sufficient. And when the RFP comes back, we don't have to accept it anyway, but let's get started. Okay. Right, thank you.
All right, thank you. The next item for the board's review and approval is a lease amendment to the county's lease with Northeast Human Services. Ms. Nelson, Wamstead and I, we had met with Northeast Human Service leadership. It turns out that Northeast has been paying in their lease for a room they're not utilizing. That room is N424, so on 4th floor. Essentially, in 2019, Northeast Human Services asked if they could use that room. We said no, it's already utilized for county purposes. But somehow it still managed to find its way into the lease, and so that was caught. So this amendment would eliminate room N424, thus reducing the total square footage by 242 square feet. Looking for approval and chair signature.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Steve second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
I
Opposed? Passed unanimously.
Thank you. Next item, during the July 30th budget meeting, Commissioner Ross asked that I go visit with construction engineers regarding that control monitoring station, and I apologize that this is not in your packets, but I had sent an email on Friday and then a follow-up on Monday with more details. Essentially, if you recall, there in the initial planning, one control monitoring station was put into the Youth Assessment Center, Correctional Center expansion. As planning went forward, I shouldn't say new, Ms. Spain had pointed out there has to be two, they have to be separate. The change order came through, we couldn't absorb that in the owner contingency. So construction engineers is willing to fund that change order out of their contractor contingency. And so there is an adjustment, of course, because of the 10% contingency in the construction manager at risk contract, but it doesn't cost the county anything else to do the change anymore to do the change order. So I'd be looking for an approval from the board to accept that change order. The change order has Commissioner Ross signature on it. Whether it's the board allows him to sign or the chair is your discretion, but need the board's approval to accept that change order. This does bring us back into the positive on our owner contingency.
I don't, Ms. Watson, I don't see anything wrong with Commissioner Ross signing that document, do you?
No,
Board authorizes him to sign, that's fine, isn't it?
correct.
Alright, so is there a motion to approve that? Don't move. You miss signing all this stuff, so you make that motion. Alright, second. Who seconded? Commissioner Rusted? Any further discussions? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously again.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, if it's okay with you, I'd like to provide an update on the Highway 2 County Road 5 intersection topic. I've had 2 phone calls with the North Dakota Department of DOT Deputy Director in the last 24 hours on this. So the phone calls focused on short-term solutions. And then the DOT schedule for their long-term plan solutions. So what I can update the board on based on the phone calls is that the new larger dynamic messaging speed limit signs have been ordered and they'll probably be actually put in place this week. So that's for the 70-mile-an-hour signs. So in other words, they'll be easier to see, be able to catch your attention easier and better. If you are in the westbound lane, when you get past the intersection, there's the 70-mile-an-hour speed limit signs. They're currently 600 feet west of that intersection. NDDOT will be moving those signs further west 1,900 feet from the intersection. The logic there is you're racing towards that intersection, you see the 70, it's a race, let's hit the gas. So hopefully that will help mediate or mitigate some of that. They will be putting in speed zone stencil on the pavement as well. Those are on order. They're not in yet. DOT has spoken with the Highway Patrol. The Highway Patrol is increasing their presence in that area for more monitoring and more enforcement. For long term, NDDOT is planning a public input meeting to be here in Grand Forks in September. If you recall, NDDOT had completed a study last year on that intersection. There were some potential solutions like a roundabout and interchange, things like that. So they're looking to get public input on some of those solutions. Of course, they'll let me and Nick and the sheriff know when that meeting will be, and so we'll let you all know, of course, when that meeting in September is scheduled. The idea is NDDOT will release a request for proposal, and that's actually going to happen sooner than later, which was good to hear. They want to get a consultant on board to begin the environmental assessment and pre-planning process started. So that by the time this input session is done and feedback is gathered, they already have someone on board and they're working it. Things are moving forward. We're seeing some short-term solutions put into effect already. And the deputy director said he and the director are more than happy to meet with county officials anytime. Just let him know if that's still something we want to do. I'll reach out, we'll get that arranged. They'll come out here, they'll do it via Zoom. Deferring to Nick a little bit on this, everyone at NDOT that I've spoken with is opposed to the rumble strips. I know that that's been brought up a few times, but we brought that up on the phone and they're not keen on that idea. But everything else is moving forward on that, so. Just wanted to provide the board an update since that's a priority of the board. We did also meet with Aaron Burrs from North Dakota Association of Counties. Nick and Gracie and I did kind of some brainstorming on what to do in the upcoming session. And so they're gonna, it's a priority to us, so it's a priority to them. So they're gonna also be working on a few solutions back in. Any questions on that? I'm happy to answer.
Any questions for Mr. Ford? You mentioned the phrase dynamic signs.
Yes, that is something I learned yesterday. They call it DMS, dynamic messaging signs.
Yeah, they're the electronic, tell you what your speed is. A dynamic board is anything that the the message can change electronically.
You know, the city of Thompson can have them, I would think they could go put them out on the highway too, already. So that's what they would, how far back would that be? 100 feet?
If there's a speed limit, they usually put them, say if you're eastbound. Where it goes from 70 to 55, usually they're at the 55, or probably the western set of the 55s. Yeah, just to tell you what your speed is, try and get you to slow down.
At least it'll be noticeable, so that might help a little bit.
Yeah, and the deputy director, he said he's talked to the sheriff. As well,
He just left.
he just left, okay, but we should start seeing a lot of these changes already this week, so good. Next, I had put some documents on the commission's desk, one of them is pay application 15 for the Youth Assessment Center Correctional Expansion Project. This was sent to me a couple of weeks ago, I signed it, but I never sent it to finance for processing. So it didn't make the consent agenda, but it would be quoted under the capital construction. I did give Ms. Nelson a heads up too. But I'd be looking for approval from the board, for finance to go ahead and process this so that they can get checks out to Iconic Construction Engineers.
So moved.
Second. Ross? We have a second?
Kristen motions in Ross second.
All right. I guess you got that. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed? Passed unanimously.
Last thing I have, just found this out 40 minutes ago, Gracie has no idea I'm about to do this. She's got a big announcement to give you all.
Let's hear it. Oh, it's a team announcement. If you all remember, the grant application that we talked about for the fire station. We found out just before the meeting started that it was awarded. Grand Forks got one. We are one of 18. So that's $11 million, to build a fire station on Grand Sky. It's been in the works for a while, and the Grand Sky team, Grand Forks Air Force team and everywhere. Okay, exciting. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's as you know, Commissioner, and we've been talking about this for 10 years to figure this out. So this is the right step.
Now the real work begins.
Actually, a little tidbit, I'm picking up on you, tidbit.
Good one.
Old CC or DOD received a record number of applications this year for the Defense Community Infrastructure Program. And it is a highly competitive DOD grant. The majority of that record number were thrown out because of technicalities. But I will say this, that Gracie worked very hard on this, very hard on this, for about 6 months, maybe longer. And so to find out that the majority were thrown out right off the bat, and for it to be that competitive and us to get it, there was a lot involved, but she led the charge, so congratulations to her.
Good job, Gracie.
That's all I have.
Right. Gracie, there was another topic you were wanting to bring up today.
Oh. Yeah, just an update for you all, just to keep you all in the loop, if that's all right, I presented the grants possibilities last week. And I just wanted to let you know that, on the larger costs for the outfitting of, the county building, the courthouse and the correctional center, such the assessment center, and, what that might run the county for each building. It is actually nearer to, in total, an estimated 120,000 to maybe on the highest end 140 or 150. I put it on each of your desks. Just so you all are aware, if we're in 2025 and capital improvements is looking okay. That could be a possibility if the commission wanted to pursue it at a lower price than we originally anticipated. And so the county office building would be, for example, expensive to the county. And rough estimates are putting it at approximately probably around $100,000 in total, which the county's top share, that would be 50%. So just something to keep in mind, as we're going into FY 25, that, those are actually not quite as expensive as we anticipated, if that's something that Fish wants to pursue.
Great.
Thank you. Ms. Wamson,
Thank you,
contract.
Mr. Chair, members of the board. If you recall, for the calendar year of 2024, we previously signed an agreement for the Swanson and Workup law firm to complete the mental health defense services for the county. Due to some changes on their end, they are looking to terminate that agreement early at the end of this month. So the first document before you is an addendum to their agreement for that early termination date. The good news is that Darla Schumann, who previously held this contract, was willing to return to the contract and finish out what remains from the calendar year. So the second document you'll find is a new contract for her just from September 1st to December 31st. Same rate of pay, so it's no budgetary difference, but just swapping out one firm for another. So I would ask for a motion to approve both contracts for the sheriff's signature.
Second.
Commissioner Rusted. Commissioner Ross, seconded. Record time on that one. Any discussion or questions about it? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah. Both contract.
Thank you. The second item I have is law clerk compensation. So our office employs 2 law students every year to work as an intern essentially in our office. They do a lot of work and pull a lot of burden off the attorney's desk as far as legal research, appearing in court on traffic court matters and drafting legal documents and things like that. My request to you is to increase their pay. Currently, they are being compensated at a rate of $15.50 per hour. I've been working with HR. We also looked to other counties in North Dakota and Minnesota that were competing to lure these students to work for Grand Forks County. We also compared with rates that the state of North Dakota pays interns, as well as private law firms in the community that are also soliciting the work of these same students. We felt that $18.50 would be appropriate. There are some locations that pay quite a bit more, but that seemed to be a fair increase. In working with HR, they looked back in the payroll software, I believe dating back to 2014 was as far back as they could go, and the rate of pay hasn't been adjusted since then. And so we're not sure exactly when prior it might have been adjusted, but it certainly seems that it's probably right for an increase. The best news is that I'm not asking for any type of budget amendment. I think we can absorb this adjustment in our budget. Because they work on a part-time basis, if we get where we're maybe consuming more of our budget, we can just cut back on their hours so that we make sure we fit it all.
You should have led with that.
Effective.
We have a motion and a second already.
And
Sorry.
just for clarification from Ms. Nelson, we need an effective date.
Tomorrow?
If you wanna do August 1st or August 16th. Makes a difference. I don't know if your
Yeah, August
role
1st.
doesn't make a difference.
Hey,
You wanna go back
Do we have any current? We have current, so it would increase there, so it would probably be easiest to do it on the 16th, for the 16th payroll.
So wouldn't that be for the work done between now and the 15th?
No,
No,
the 16th would be the work from the 16th to the 31st, because we pay current. We don't have a lifetime.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any
who
further
made the
questions?
motion? Second. You.
Hearing no discussion, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously.
Thank you very much. I have nothing further.
All right, committee reports, Mr. Ross.
I Well, we had our weekly jail meeting. Everything is going good out there. The weather's been cooperating. They're getting all kinds of concrete poured. Mr. West was, nice enough to get me a price on graveling. We had to wait until the concrete on the, west side of the correctional center got done to, put a final, coating of gravel that would run from North Washington all the way around to the, west side of the exhibits building and meet the concrete that they poured. And the price was $5,400 for 2 inches of gravel on that whole area. And I believe Mr. West's crew will spread it. So this is just the cost of the gravel, so. I would like to get the money out of capital improvements if possible. For that endeavor, so.
That's, you don't have to tell them that at all.
Yeah, that's a motion.
Alright. Second, time to Commissioner Rosted. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously. That all for you,
That's it.
Commissioner Rosted,
That's nothing.
Commissioner Hagan,
I listened in on one of the, construction meetings just to kind of hear what they chat about and just to get something, just to be a fly on the wall. Also a part of the Highway 2 discussion. Then the only other thing was at the library, it was recommended to the board that we create a teen young adult section, which was already part of the library. They just took it away from the space. We're bringing it back and putting the 3 books that were up for reconsideration in that department, in that space. And then going forward, there'll be a teen young adult section. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trustee Beach,
The Airport Authority Board met last week, approved the budget for 2025.
and I had a couple of EDC meetings and there's a brick meeting tomorrow, but. Nothing out of the ordinary, I don't think. Any unfinished or new business, Ms. Nelson? All right. Any correspondence? I didn't see that in there. Then we're ready to perhaps make another.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. Haley? I spent some of the recordings and speak out.
That should be all, we'll look from time to time.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, it doesn't mean anything super formal.
You want to talk
I do it with create, just to kind of make sure. if there's anything you guys want to pass along this time.
Yeah. Sounds good.